FirstLastPod's, the show from the first, the last, the nerddom, where we explore cinema at its most haunting, provocative, and unforgettable. This month, we're continuing our deep dive into a theme that we're calling Innocence in the Dark. Stories where youth, vulnerability, and purity are thrust into the worlds that are anything but safe. And this week, we're turning our attention to the 2025 horror film, Weapons. If Innocence in the Dark is about the corruption of what should be protected, Weapons feels like it was built in that shadow. A film steeped in unease, mystery, and the creeping dread of something deeply, deeply wrong. It taps into one's horror. It tapped into one of horror's most unsettling questions. What happens when children, an entire classroom full of children, become the center of something terrifying? Not just as victims, but as part of the mystery itself. We'll be breaking down the film's atmosphere, its structure, the performances, and how it plays with paranoia and fear. Does Weapons use its premise to say anything deeper about trust and community? Or is the horror purely visceral? And how does it stack up within our larger theme of innocence surrounded by darkness? So turn down the lights, keep the doors locked, and listen very carefully. Because sometimes the scariest thing isn't what you see, it's what you don't understand, and that shadow. This is the First Last podcast from the First Last the Nerddom, and Innocence in the Dark continues with Weapons. I'm ML. Here's Tom.
Hey, ML. Good job on the intro. But yeah, I'm coming in. I warned you a little bit before you guys teed us up because I got a hot take. I don't know. And maybe it's more of a cold take, but I've been watching. You and me both watch a lot of YouTube, little YouTube shorts. People put together little things, and I enjoy what they put together. A lot of times, it's very informative. But there's this trend with a bunch of them where they started off. They cue it up and then they ruin it for me. And then maybe it's just my hang up. But they go, so grab a snack and a cold drink. I hate that. I hate that. It just gets a little too parasocial. It's like getting too much into my business. I'll get a snack if I want to. Maybe I already had a snack. I don't need you to tell me that. You don't have to look after me. But that being said, go ahead and grab a lightly toasted corpse and get your coagulated blood and enjoy the show.
Right. Oh, that's so funny. Well, if in that vein, the only thing that it used to annoy me a lot more, I'll be honest, I kind of chilled down on it because I'll just fast forward it. But oftentimes I'm very passively watching something, and it's in another tab or something, and I'm doing something else, and I just want background noise. But like the shows and the channels that I really like, and then if I get used to them, they'll have like I don't mind a theme song, provided that it's very, very short. Mm-hmm. But if it goes on beyond 30 seconds or whatever, that's the kind of the demarcator. But some to be clear, some do it well and others do it. It's just like if you see that, it's kind of like the intros. Like now they have a setting on these TV box sets and stuff that like will auto skip the intro. So technology is a wonderful thing. It's not all bad. AI isn't all bad, right? But with that being said, who are these two goofballs and what the hell are they doing and what are they talking about? They got Innocent in the Dark. They got the First Last podcast. We are the First Last the Nerddom. We're gonna get the plugging here, and then we will.
We haven't forgot Weapons. We'll definitely get
there. Absolutely. So FirstLastNerddom.com is where you can find Mike and Tom, ML and Tom. You can also find us home base on YouTube. As always, want to do a quick plugging of Tom and his latest video, our latest short on his comic book short series, where he goes into what's in hand and what's got his fancy. That's up to 115. Wow, that's going pretty quick. Always we'll love to see those, Tom. And then I was going to say too, we had released our we're getting caught up here with the backlog. But if you should also go check out our two latest on Bingeworthy. Yep, it's great. Love that series,
Yeah.
and that's our second show. And then, but
yeah,
first,
the looks like the fans of CB Strike are really showing out for the for that one.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah, I was wondering. Usually, when that happens, I was like, okay, I saw that must mean Tom posted it or found a good Reddit, a subreddit that would have us. So that's always a good sign. We always like to see that.
Yep.
And speaking of Reddit, we're actually you are you are on Reddit, sir.
Yeah, first last nerdum.
Yeah.
we are on the Reddit. Yep, promoter stuff there. Yeah, like Mike said, I do promote us there, and I found a warm welcome on a CB Strike or a Cormoran Strike site, so our subreddit. I get my terminology right, but yeah, but yeah, so yeah, you might see me there creeping around if I'm not banned or deleted. I try to promote or bring her back on there, but once again, A24 thought low effort, so deleted our post. So.
Well, I just might have to not renew my A24 membership. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't be that petty, but maybe I would be. No, I'm kidding. No, but in all seriousness, you are also on X too.
X, yes, I'm on X under First Last Nerdum, and if you want to find consistent posts about our shows, and then also weird stuff, I found a romantic black metal band, so I posted that on Valentine's Day. So for those losers out there with nothing to do, they could have listened to that. But Mike, you have socials. Speaking of loser,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I am in no rush to impress anyone. Nor would I care to, nor would anybody really care either. But I am, yes, I am at Sofa King Jewish _ a man astride a donkey turned the wrong way. Whatever that means to you is whatever it means. I did, before we do hit our main thing here, the creator of it, Zach Kreger, also is just another way for us to do our plugging. We had our where did it go here? I thought it okay. Yeah, so excuse me. I confused myself with the double the inception here with the browsers. Anyway, we did a
like, hey, that's us.
Binge-worthy. Whitest Kid You Know, where Zach Kreger is there. We are fans of these kind of properties. These comedians turn horror directors. We always love to see that, but that is a little cool little thing. And I'll hand it back to you, sir. With where you want to go.
All right. Yeah. So we're gonna Weapons is one of those movies that, if you're going to discuss it like we like to discuss it for roughly about an hour, we may go long on this one because we really enjoyed this one, I believe. The first 10-15 minutes will be spoiler free, or try to be at least spoiler free as we can, but we're going to get into spoilers. So to start off, I love this movie. I don't know if Mike echoes my claim on that, but yeah, the basic setup is now this is when I went to see it opening weekend. I wanted to get there before any spoilers got out on social media. I had a social media blackout until I stepped in the door. The only thing I knew was there was they were posting those Ring cameras of the kids running, and also I knew the basic story of, it's a class full of kids that disappear except for one, and the teacher's kind of getting persecuted for all the kids going missing because everybody's trying to figure out what's going on. That's the basic setup that I understood. So that's all you need to know going into this movie, and that I love this movie completely. And so if you haven't seen it, go watch it. I guarantee you, after watching it, you'll want to hear people talking about it, and come back to us and watch us talk about it. But Mike, do you recommend this movie as well?
I absolutely do. The thing that makes me I wish I would. I was just going through a movie funk, and I go through this like where I just nothing really appeals, and it's just kind of like the same thing across the board. I
Yeah,
really wanted
blah
this
blah
movie,
blah. Yeah, yeah. That's
yeah,
sort
but
of, yeah.
but the problem is though sometimes you got to break through that and you just got to go see
Mhm.
and when you do it and at most times like when you do I really wish I would have seen this because I know I would have loved it.
Yeah.
Spoiler, I love it. It is
Mhm.
great. It is I mean it has some faults too which we may or may not be get into spoilers for sure later on, but really nothing to do with that. It just like I really enjoyed this and I heard like I wish I would have saw it, and I knew it was out there, but there was
Mhm.
kind of just this opaque kind of umbrella around it. So like I really didn't know what it was. I thought it was something else that was like from years ago, but I think my brain was like, nope, that's not what it. You know, that's.
Yeah.
So I had no idea, but I wish I would have saw this in the theater.
Yeah.
This would
Yeah.
have been
Actually, I think my first
totally worth it.
my first inkling of it was you tagged me in on X. There's the viral thing of the kids running.
Right.
You tagged me in that.
I
So,
remember that.
but yeah, the other thing I knew about going into it was Zach Kreger. I'd seen Barbarian and loved that, so I knew, okay, well, he's got some credentials. So yeah, and at that point I hadn't seen The Wise Kids You Know. When we I think we talked about it. Actually, when I bought this movie on 4K, I picked up the box set, the DVD box set of Wise Kids You Know, and so I've been actually I'd seen a sketch here, sketch there. I've never really gone through the whole thing, and I'm I'm almost done. I'm like halfway through season 5, so I've got like 5 episodes left, and I'm done with them. And then they also have a movie coming out, animated movie, the last things that they did as a group, that's coming out I think this year. So we could look forward to that and maybe discuss that when that hits the stage. But yeah, this movie, absolutely amazing, a fantastic movie. When I know that some people had some bad things go as far as crowds. I know Red Letter Media, when they talked about it, they talked about their bad experience with the crowd watching it. I actually had a pretty good experience. I I like it too. Okay, let's talk about Wise Kids. You know, in season 4, there was a character that they brought in, this lady that throughout the season, when they got a little too crazy on the sketch, they'd have her come out and go, "Oh hell no!" And that's I think there was that lady there in the audience when I saw it. When it was the creepiest and at the where we needed some tension to relieve. There'd be like oh hell no in the audience, and we all have a little chuckle, and so it made the experience a little bit better for me. But yeah, I've heard that some people had some bad experience. But rewatching it again at home on 4K, I got my 4K right here. But I'm the physical media guy. But it was still fantastic movie. And then the 4K, just a quick rundown. There is no commentary on it, which is unfortunate. But there is 3 very short little behind the scenes things, little interviews and stuff. Wish they were longer. I think in total it totals like 20 minutes. I pray for like maybe a Criterion big deluxe release later on, but yeah, for now it's okay. It's a nice quality 4K. Definitely worth checking out. And I am opening up my cold beverage, Boomer Juice here.
I will join you with my coconut water for old men who like to take naps. Intermix my JB. I didn't mention this, but I was gonna say I just poured myself a little bit of JB.
Okay, nice.
In order to honor Josh Brolin here, kind of his character Archer Graff. He's like the obsessed dad, he's like something. Everybody else is freaking out, and he's kind of scratching his head and going, "I don't know what's going on here, but there's something going on." So there's a little bit of like you're kind of the high the grade for going down for your mystery. That's one angle, and then you got the Julia Gardner, who's Justine Gandy, who plays this very loving, very tender, very
alcoholic.
Kind of teaches right. Yeah, aside from the alcoholism, and her she has a questionable past, not quite inappropriate, like you would kind of, you would be like, wait, what, with kids, what, not like that. Just kind of like she's kind of got her own thing, kind of thing. She does a really good job, actress too. Has this Josh Brolin, that goes without saying. And then you have the junkie, and then you have the cop, alcoholic cop. So and it's also kind of like weird because like kind of you can kind of tell Justine is kind of like the down and out, kind of on the outs girl. Kind of, there's a little bit of a love thing there going on with the Paul Morgan who's the character. Aiden Elveridge. But anyway, I'll throw it back to you. But yeah, this one was this one. I loved how you just roll into it, and then it chapters it out by character and like kind of catching up the story up to that kind of point, and then they kind of do this whole thing, and then they kind of bring it all together in the fourth act, and some of it is almost so it's so absurd. It's almost, speaking of Zach Kreger, there's at least one scene in there for sure, like where it was just like kind of like bonkers, and kind of, it was definitely unsettling, but it was also kind of funny. Right, yeah. Like that there was that, but what you find humorous is that is the thing. But I know that I saw that, but yeah, I guess where did you want to start in on this one? Like there's just so many things. Like the first thing is like this one yet again, and maybe this is a good time to get into it. But this one, the budget was $38 million, unusually low for a American Hollywood thing, especially that is really actually good for horror too. But with this, was it not bidded on for the whole concept? And we were kind of talking about Whitest Kid You Know, comedy, and Jordan Peele. I had read that Jordan Peele fired some of his people because he didn't get the script to this or the ability to produce it or whatever. So this one was sought after. And I can see why. It completely takes a different approach to horror. I mean, at first you see it shows you that it's a horror film, but when you get into it, it kind of shows you it's a mystery. Is it just the kind of the interaction between the cop and the addict. Like that little subplot story was hilarious, and on the nose. And it also made you want to, again, all these little stories that you saw that kind of add up. It just drew you in more to the story, on top of it being a absolutely heart-wrenching, horrendously, topic of like, can you imagine overnight, a thing, and then your mind would naturally go to, it's a mass shooting or something horrific like that. No, no, this is even creepier because they're just gone. And I didn't know what to make, though. I did get conflicting things like of the narrative. That there's like a narrative element to this movie too. It's like where you're getting caught up in it, which it has some tension. But I think it's purposely opaque and contradicts itself because of you're being dropped in. You're going to see why essentially.
Yeah, you dropped a lot of stuff there, man. Let's break it down. All right, so there was a bidding war for this. Zach actually, we are going to get into kind of spoilers, so fair warning. But Zach, he did write this as a therapeutic session because his friend and coworker Trevor Moore passed away with an accident, and this is his kind of dealing with it. Actually, I watched not soon after the movie came out, there was like this YouTube video. I should have linked it, but the guy talked about how this movie was sort of him dealing with the death of Trevor Moore, and on the surface you're like, what? that doesn't really, but actually, kind of, if you break it down, it kind of makes sense. But it's like this first half of it with Justine and being hounded. There's like a death. The mystery of the children disappearing is sort of like him dealing with the fact that Trevor died in such a way that there's a lot of questions, a lot of grief, and unfortunately, a lot of people online were like going at the guys for Wise Kids. There was like this weird conspiracy theory about Trevor's death, and they were trying to figure out. Yeah, so it's sort of like him.
Welcome to modern day.
Yeah. So he's still dealing with that and stuff, and then. He is also he's a recovering alcoholic from 10 years. So this is sort of like his kind of dealing with the alcoholism. And then you get into Alex's story later on in the child who survives. And his is sort of like an allegory for alcoholic parents. Because he's having to go to this house that he's having to be the head of the house, kind of dealing with the zombie of a parents. And he talked about his father being kind of a zombie through you knew this man, and you get to know him, and then all of a sudden he's this mystery, that this stranger that's sitting in your house that erupts every once in a while. So very and you can kind of see some of his influences. He did say that this movie Weapons, the look of it was inspired by a guy that we love, Denis Villeneuve's his movie Prisoners. The look of that, I haven't actually seen that movie, so that may be something we look into later on. But the look of it was very much reminiscent of that. There's a lot of various shining elements. Weirdly enough, there's from the book. There's the hotel. Room number 217, and the big thing is the kids disappear at 217 at night, and reportedly that may be when Trevor Moore died. So that's also so if you're kind of wondering what that 217 means, there's those dual things, and there's a scene towards the end with the door and the parents that's very reminiscent of The Shining. Good
call out. I was going to say too, the 217 reference too is funny with that's right. The movie came out August 8th, and Trevor Moore, he passed away on August 7th. So there's that too. But just kind of add to the the collective thing. But I did see 217. Like after you kind of count, I did watch this a couple times. So like they bore watching through. And it was excellent. And you get to these characters, and like some of them, like you really feel bad for too. It plays with the concept of people know something is going on, and actually they are justified, but it's just like on the wrong person.
Well, there's that thing where the people are there's not really a truly great person. Everybody has like shades of gray, except for maybe the principal. He's probably like the nicest guy, and also the kid, of course, is. I was gonna say, you can't throw any. Can't really throw too much shade on him, but yeah. So, but one of the things that Zach said when he's in some of the interviews, he said that. Justine, the person that he got, Julia Garner, to play. He originally thought she was maybe a little too young to play the teacher, but once he hired her and she started acting, he couldn't think of anyone else. And actually, they did go through. They did hire a bunch of actors, but then it got delayed, and a lot of them left except for the guy that played the drug addict. He hung on to the role because he really wanted to play that character. But originally he's going to be Pedro Pascal playing the Josh Brolin role as Archer. And you know what? I think I love Josh Brolin much better than I would have loved Pedro Pascal. So the kind of dual leads right now were Archer and Justine, Julia Garner and Josh Brolin, and he was talking about how the way he wanted Julia to play Justine is sort of like the prey If you look at her, she's always kind of darting around, kind of looking much like a a prey, and Josh Brolin is more of the predator, and he's looking straight on. He's got his sights locked on her, and after her. And, with him saying that, I watched those interviews before rewatching it, and you could really see that kind of laser focus he has on that.
Yeah, I really at first like when I saw it, I was like, oh shit, Josh Brolin's in here. And it was kind of like, no, he's not. And then I was like what you kind of see him, and then you finally see the character he plays, and you're like, okay, yeah. But Pedro Pascal, like, I could take or leave. I mean, he's a great actor. He's just
yeah, I don't think he's been right for this. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't. I think. I don't know that he would have brought the right energy.
Yeah. Josh has that energy of, like I said, there's kind of barrels and kind of like a big bull, even though he's getting up in there in age like myself. You think you could see him as a threat, maybe not me, but you could see him kind of breaking some doors and getting through things. But yeah, Weapons is sort of like that movie that's kind of perfect for me, kind of a mix of various genres, definitely in the horror vein, but I think probably the greatest thing for the Wise Kids and Zach was the playground of kind of experimenting with different types of filming and playing with different tones to things, because this movie rides that border of funny and dark, and there was Bring Her Back was released about a month or two before Weapons, and when I saw Bring Her Back, that was so oppressive and dark, and we talked about it last week. Very dark movie. It grabs a hold of you and it kind of shakes you around and doesn't let go, and that movie was going to be my favorite horror movie of the year, and then Weapons happens, and that just this movie hits all the right buttons for me, and not to throw any shade on Bring Her Back. I wanted to talk about that one first to give it the attention that it needs, but then this movie was like my favorite horror movie of last year and favorite movie of last year.
we have had an exceptionally good run of horror films of late. Generally speaking, the ones that we kind of caught as we were going out of 2024, even going into 2025, same thing. This I was going to say, I Bring Her Back is just like one of those films that, because of the content and how it works, it just sucks because it's so personal and intimate. It just sucks the air, sucks the oxygen out of it, which is exactly what you want in a horror film. This one you would think would, but it doesn't.
It has some really, it got some really dark themes. Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot more distance, and it's just as heartbreaking in some ways, Pardon me.
But yeah, it's a.
Hit the mute button.
It deals with really dark themes, but there's a lot of humor. There's that balance of you're never left too right where things get a little too scary or a little too deep. There's a laugh, and that really worked with the audience I was watching it with. They were laughing at the right times. They were getting creeped out at the right times. And Zach said that when he was watching the movie, and he put in like some jokes into it, and if the audience didn't react to it, even though if he loved that joke, he took it out. So he's very, very conscious. And you were talking about how there was a bidding war. I think Universal won out, and one of the reasons they didn't offer the most money, I think Netflix did, but he wanted it out in the theaters, and I think rightly so, because it made like $200 and something million. So yeah, very if Netflix had released it. It would just have been a movie of the week, and it would have disappeared. Even if that, I don't think it would have brought the brought the heat like it did with it being out in the theaters. And like I said, it was a must see for me running out to see this movie.
Yeah, I think this one I really enjoyed it a lot more too because of the storyline. It was kind of like the Magnolia or Pulp Fiction of horror, so to speak. It's not a straight line story. You have like the crash, essentially, which is like the first hour, and because you don't know how any of these people are connected aside from the obvious, the missing kids, but that means nothing because it's already given. And it's just kind of like, okay, but how does that happen? And then you go into it with just
we did we did talk about how like Magnolia, you got sort of like different viewpoints. It starts with Justine and goes to Archer and goes to Paul and bounces around the various viewpoints. And I think that there was going to be a Gladys one as well, but didn't make it into the movie, so her backstory. But yeah.
I wouldn't mention this, but it's just too perfect. It is just too perfect to mention this. Of course, as we record this, or not record, but as we're live here today, this is February 15th. Yesterday was Valentine's Day. In the script, I am a nerd with this, and I did look up the script, and in the script there was a whole thing about the Valentine's Day cards that was not kept into the thing. But anyway, that would have been a very easy and when you were into the spoiler territory, so caveat emptor. But with that being said, when you understand the movie and you hear Valentine's Day cards, boom, light bulb goes off, and you're like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and to touch on Magnolia one last time, the whole Paul, the police officer story, was inspired by Magnolia in reference to John C. Reilly's character. From that, he knew he wanted a kind of a cop character in there. Right. So that, and if you think about it, that whole the movie is long for a horror movie. It's 2 hours and 8 minutes, but I think it justifies its time because it has sort of that multi-layered aspect to it. And if you watch it, the perspective is a little bit different. You're telling it from their voices, so they remember things different. If you watch Justine's scene with where she meets Paul at the bar, and Paul's version of it are slightly different. There's a quick hug on I think Justine's side of it, and Paul just comes in on her version of it, whereas in Paul's she stands up and there's a longer hug and stuff. So meaning I guess sort of the different things hold more relevance and changes the memory of it depending on the person. So it doesn't do a whole lot with that, but there's enough there to where on a second or third rewatching you'll see all those little different things. I'm not claiming to be an expert and know all of those, but they're there for those that want to see those. Another cool little thing is we talked about Robert Galbraith's book series and TV series based off of it, CB Strike. Tom Burke was actually up for the role of the Paul the cop, which Tom Burke is CB Strike and or Cormoran Strike in that series. So that would have been interesting. I would. I would imagine that would add up a layer of enjoyment or a layer of complexity to the performance. But the crash happens a little bit later on, and when all these people are kind of come together and. I really the other thing I'd like to mention is the world building and the atmosphere and like what you can expect of the world, and it's it really is easy to slide into. Again, it amazes me that my fundamental misunderstanding about horror was that it had to be a slasher, Friday the 13th or Jason. It's a dark night. It's Friday the 13th. Like all these kind of things. Like, no, it's not. It could be a bright, sunshiny day,
and then you have some psycho, your boss, who was your boss, but you wouldn't recognize him because he's like so tweaked out, and looks very, very unique. And then he starts to choke the life out of you. I mean, it's just crazy nuts, and it's like, how did that happen? And you kind of get to that. I did get a little bit of a government conspiracy vibe from this, from the standpoint of they kind of talk about, and it's Archer and the dad. It kind of comes in a little bit about weapons, about some government. They don't really do much with it. It's more about kind of putting out things there. But there's also the witchcraft thing, and I love how they tell you about it even. Like, but you dismiss it because it's just like, well, of course they're gonna, the mob is gonna hate that teacher because it's hers is the only classroom, like where all but one kid, whatever, and then you see witch painted on her car.
Yeah, it's sort of like a hint for later on. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. this year, it's almost like the evil woman kind of archetype. Like with last week with Bring Her Back, you have the evil foster stepmom, the Satanist woman, and this week we have the witch woman, the witchy aunt shows up in Glass.
and both of those have in common, though, is the evil foster mother is purposely using the children as fuel, or as a sacrifice. Just like this, just like Gladys, who's very, there's this one clip, and I'll put it in the show notes down below later on. But there's this one. If you're unsure of this movie, you need to see this. It's the interaction between Gladys and the principal character, played by that. Shame on me for that. Anyway, I'll look there in a second, but. That just watch that clip. That is probably the perfect way to take this movie, like where you're like, something is not fucking right. It's right in front of your face, but it's not. I love that.
Yeah, I like how they structured it with the different perspectives, and the one that knows the least about what's going on. At the end of the day, at the end of the movie, Justine is still in the dark as to what the hell was going on. and I like how they start with her because she knows the least, and it kind of progresses to even whether by happenstance or by them being there in the thick of it. You slowly build to what's you start peeling away the onion layers, and you get deeper and deeper into it. And I love how everything kind of escalates. Because a lot of times, in a horror movie, you can kind of maybe blow your load a little too early and reveal too much, and the shock value isn't as big because you didn't hold off long enough. Maybe you didn't reveal the monster. You revealed it too soon, and the scare factor's gone away. Whereas this movie, it just kind of builds and builds and builds, and then when you when you see the monster Gladys, she's this bright kind of South Miami grandmother that comes shooting out. You wouldn't expect that from from this character, but yeah, she's totally overwhelms you, and you're like, who the hell is this? And you see glimpses of her, much like traditional monsters in a horror movie. You see her popping up in people's nightmares. Then when she comes on full form, it's like, okay. Sometimes if you put your monster in bright daylight, they lose their effect, but you get the full effect with her in the bright daylight.
Well, this was one of the weird transitional things, like where the evil monster here, the lady, she that witchcraft mechanics, she's very frail, but as the story goes on, she gets not frail. and those kids that are her batteries or under her control or whatever, like they you kind of get this there, you very quickly get to see the mechanics of how it operates, like that the possession mechanism, I guess, for lack of a better thing. Yeah. But Kreger does treat it, or intimates that could be a biological weapons, hence the title. So we know that there's something that they're going to play with. And we'll
they're literally her weapons at some point. So the story.
right. Well, you have Gladys the Witch, and she is, very frail, and it's just kind of like I can't believe I have so many more touch points with Rick and Morty that I can kind of point to, and people will understand in concept. But there was a Rick and Morty episode where there's this parasite kind of memory parasite thing that would kind of weasel its way in, and you would kind of have a fuzzy memory of Uncle so-and-so or Aunt so-and-so. Well, in this case, it is Aunt so-and-so. And then, because Alex and his parents, and he's like, well, how long is she going to be here, Dad? And he's like, I don't know, bud. I don't know, man. I don't really know her. Your mom doesn't really know her. But she's family and we take care of it. So she just kind of comes in on this pretext of just kind of this ancient thing, and that there's got to be something more with that. But as it progresses, and she interacts with Alex, and the funny thing is, she could just outright possess anybody that she wanted. Essentially, given the mechanics of the thing and her ability to do that. But just assume that she did. She doesn't do that with Alex. She doesn't have to, because she uses another means of control, which is just more normal manipulation. Which is really sad too. That's even more brutal.
Well, she knew she could manipulate him, and he would be a good front-facing kind of thing. At least assuming they wouldn't suspect him. But I read this on Wikipedia. I thought this was fascinating about the Gladys character. When discussing the character, Krieger stated that he gave Amy Madigan her two options as to Gladys's origin. One where she was a regular person using witchcraft to prevent her dying from an incurable condition, and one where she was instead an immortal creature performing an approximate simulacrum of a human being, but that he did not ask her which she chose. So it was up to her to kind of figure out how to play it. So I thought that was kind of fascinating and kind of cool how he kind of set that up for her. But she's a very fascinating character. One of the biggest interesting monsters in horror, I have to say. She's sort of like one of those iconic creatures. I would put her right up head and shoulders with, say, Freddy Krueger. But this isn't obviously a slasher movie. It's a much more smarter than that. But I don't think Krueger would scoff at us talking about her as a legendary creature.
I do think that if you were maybe a little bit more closer, you don't really question it so much, and it's not a quality thing at all. There does kind of seem to be a little bit of a misdirection here and there with kind of some of the elements, like the salt line thing, and it's kind of like, well, let's go through Home Depot and grab all the trope classic horror things and throw them in there. We got a witch. Oh, we need some salt. What the hell does salt have to do? Just throw it in there. We'll figure it out later. 217. There are some things that will absolutely make sense, and I do think that there are some things that are kind of just, I wouldn't say they're nonsensical, but I would say that they're kind of like, maybe if there was a second prequel version of this or that, some things might be reaffirmed and some things might be dropped.
It's sort of like it spices things up. And another thing I wanted to mention is how everything looks authentic. There's like a lot of times with a movie and with the sets and whatnot, it looks pretty clean. You wouldn't mind stepping into and living in these households, and maybe it's a little bit nicer than what you would normally live with day to day. Especially like my room here. These movies, these rooms are cluttered. There's crap all over the place. Everything looks very lived in and very realistic as far as that. I just loved how lived in everything kind of looked in this movie. And you know how I'll say Marcus, the principal, but his is kind of like bright and cozy, just like his personality. The places they lived kind of matches who you would think would live there. So I love that attention to detail that's there. And while we're on the subject of Marcus, we do have to talk about the hot dogs, because everybody that sees the movie are kind of questions. There's a little feedback there. Is that yeah? But yeah, there's in the movie, there's a scene where him and his husband or boyfriend or whatnot are having. Is that me, or is that's getting that feedback?
I'm not sure. I'm muted.
You're not. You're not hearing anything. Okay. Well, if it's not happening,
I think if there are sound things, the system is very, very good about echo cancellation.
Okay. All right.
But please go on. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so Marcus was they're having a nice little Sunday afternoon, and the husband's made a bunch of hot dogs, like 7 hot dogs in a sort of little platter there, and it's a reference to the Whitest Kid You Know sketch, Timmy and the Hot Dogs.
That's funny. I was gonna say, like, it's so funny. I'm not gonna play the sound because we're live here, and I might stop it here every 5 seconds or so. But that's funny. There's just playful references there, I guess. I was wondering about that. Not that I would have ever been able to connect the dots on my own. I would not. But that they do spend a little bit extra time on the hot dogs, like with the one his partner's husband going and making things that they're going to sit down and whatever. And it's also that they were also like the characters are very believable. You know what I mean? Like from the cop with the mustache and the kind of the something's going on there that's bothering
Paul.
him.
Paul.
Paul. To the teacher, to the her kind of playing a part of the floozy a little bit. And kind of see like where she also gets her ass kicked everywhere she goes. This poor woman gets her ass kicked, and probably only like one time it was justified maybe. And I think, and of course we're far into spoiler territory, so it is what it is. But Paul has a wife, it seems that at first it kind of seems like, well, maybe he's going through divorce or something like that, and it's like, nope, that is.
But he gives her that impression that they're on they're kind of cooled off on the marriage thing. So
absolutely. No, because she finds out obviously, and that kind of plays into the thing because you kind of see things kind of in a little bit, and it doesn't really matter anyway. It's immaterial to the actual storyline because Paul has a little bit of a different fate.
Yeah, and Paul, I will say, the acting in this movie is top notch all the way around. I mean, even the kid actor Alex was amazing in it. But Paul is played by Alden Ehrenreich, and I thought I had seen him before in the movie in a different movie, but I guess that mustache really kind of hides him, because I did not realize until afterwards, and I looked it up, that he was Han Solo in the new Han Solo movie.
Really? That's awesome. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I like that. I was one of the nerds that I would have been just fine had we explored that dimension. But you know what? I'm a nerd, and what I like is not what everybody else.
Yeah, and then to kind of pair that, I liked Paul's story in it, but I think I loved James's story. He was the drug addict guy that was just stumbling upon everything, played by Austin Abrams. I mentioned earlier that he was one of the original cast before they had to kind of recast everything, and he kind of stuck with it because he really wanted to play that character. And I mean, he lives that character. I mean, you believe him as that kind of fast talking junkie that is on the outs with everybody, but's trying to work his way back in with family, friends, trying to get money off them as he's robbing. He's pulling the handles. I've seen that character walking around when I used to work with you in St. Louis. There was me and a different buddy that we would go to the local bar after work, and on our way back one night, maybe a couple of
the talking about.
Yeah. The guy, we'd see this guy. I said he's window shopping. He was going through, looking at all the cars and trying the handles, and and seeing what he could get away with. But yeah, that's very reminiscent of this character in this movie. Just kind of look around, look for any opportunity, any and all opportunity. And he kind of looks a little bit like. Maybe a more fishy-eyed James Franco, although James Franco's out of favor at this time in Hollywood. But yeah, he kind of gave me some James Franco vibes, but not as greasy, which is kind of weird since he's playing a drug addict. But but he did have that vibe to him. But yeah, I really enjoyed most of the actors. I can't think of anyone that really didn't really pull their A game on this.
I didn't. I was into it when the story was, we saw in the cop, and it's got alcoholic, and it's got divorced life, whatever stuff going on. He's hitting the down and out teacher. and the only weird thing I mention is because like they have this kind of walk of shame. If you're ever familiar, the walk of shame is like the next day you have to walk.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but they do this thing like where they do that, but like she's dropping him off.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, all right, but it adds to the characters. You don't question it, and you kind of see. I was like, okay, like when that branch of the story falls, and I was like, okay,
yeah, that was
get there.
That was another thing in her recollection of the events. He wasn't quite as hungover in her recollection. He was more, he's kind of more pissed off with her for asking about the police work. But his version, when he gets out of that car, man, he's worse for wear. He's kind of staggered around, and but in her version, he had a little bit more together in her version of her memory of it, which is kind of interesting how even in that they kind of played around with people's perspectives.
Well. And in their dynamic, some of these people do not know how to have a conversation. It's just, but that's kind of the point of it. That's that tension of like, there's still, they had, the night or whatever together, but the next morning, like when reality hits them, it's kind of like the reality is kind of hitting them both in the face, and then she's kind of dealing with it, and he's just kind of like, you can kind of tell he's just like, God,
yeah.
I didn't. I'm not trying to like. I'm not trying to hear you.
Her version is there may be a spark, there may be a future with him, whereas him it's like, it's all regret. Like, right. Oh shit, I shouldn't have had that drink, man. All that the AA, all that time in on being sober, and now I just threw it away for a stupid night with a crazy woman.
Right.
Which who hasn't been there? But yeah, a couple of there is. I was going to talk about a lot of. Zach kind of sprinkles in a lot of hints about things, like you were talking about with the witch. Painting it on the car. That's a direct reference to what's actually going on. But she's the wrong witch. But yeah, they sprinkle in a lot of clues as to what's going on, because at the beginning of the movie when Justine is doing her class and she's talking about parasites, Gladys is much like a parasite. And then whenever Marcus, the principal, is watching TV with his husband, they're watching this thing on how these insects create like zombies of ants. Ants, of these ants. There's and also when Gladys is talking to the principal, she's talking about how the parents has consumption which is modern day tuberculosis, which they say kind of maybe hints to the age of her. Maybe she is kind of immortal, and she's more used to talking about consumption than say the modern term. And there's like that funny thing where Mark said, I don't think I know what consumption is, but it also maybe kind of on the head. She's hitting it on the head that she's consuming his parents, so consumption is more of a clue in on that. And and there's another interesting little thing where Alex, the kid, is laying in bed, and his alarm clock shows 11:34, and who hasn't been the kid with a calculator back in the day? Do out those numbers and turn it over, and it says hell. So he says life is hell. It's 11:34. It's hell. Also, the fact that he's it's sort of like a dual movie, kind of a reflection on alcoholism. There is during the beginning of the movie, during the credits, and then also at the end. In the O of weapons, there's a triangle, and that's the symbol for Alcoholics Anonymous. That's their logo. So there's that, and one last little hidden Easter egg is James. He finds a copy of Willow in the house, and Willow is a movie about a witch who attacks children for her own spells, and it's ultimately her downfall is the children. So there's that.
Well, getting to that point, this is just as equally brutal as what happens to some of the characters. But apropos, I did hear that there might be a prequel. Or some such thing, or sorry. Yep, I know that there's enough thing there, whether they do the prequel route or they do a sequel or something, who knows. But you can definitely, I think, I would absolutely show up for something to see see this again. And you also it didn't answer any questions really. I mean, could still be part of a weapon, a thing. Right. There's some other questions there, like, well, is Gladys really related to Alex? Is the power or the mechanism hereditary?
Yeah, the best.
Probably not. Maybe, who knows?
The best horror movies leave things up to the imagination. Whenever you explain everything, it kind of makes everything kind of lose its magic. So. Yeah. There's Krieger has talked about a potential sequel, and about a prequel with Aunt Gladys. So that could be interesting. Although he said that wouldn't be his next movie, which his next movie, if the buzz is correct, he's going to be doing the next Resident Evil movie. So he's a big fan of Resident Evil. He's a big gamer, like all of us. So, and he's a big horror guy. So, you kind of, they kind of, when they took George Romero off the Resident Evil movie and went in a different direction, in a lot of people's eyes, they screwed up. You had the master of horror and zombies doing a Resident Evil movie. That would have been a no-brainer, but, they went in a different direction with that group of movies, but they have a chance to make up for all of that. Some other things about this movie, you kind of wonder about the running of the kids. Is that it's not really a Naruto run. The arms aren't way back. They're just off to the side. And I was kind of curious what inspired that. And Krieger says that it was inspired, and then I immediately clicked into it with the there's that famous image of during Vietnam with the Vietnamese girl that's running. That's the reference there. So a real life horror kind of reflected, and there is that uncanny sort of a weird vibe that inspires, and it does. Maybe in the back of your mind, if you've seen that image, it kind of triggers you. And the fact that that's that same thing happening here, it kind of triggers you here. You don't know quite what's going on. It's kind of an unnatural pose, almost like a T pose. If they're running in a T pose, it would have been maybe a little bit too funny. But yeah, the kind of the V arm run is very very creepy. He did have some help on this movie. I did want to shout out David Fincher because he did. He said that David Fincher was very influential in this movie. He was think that the end of it, and it really kind of helped him out on post production because I guess David Fincher's sort of the master of, if you didn't get it quite, and David Fincher's famous for doing a scene 100 times, but even, and the fact that you did it 100 times, you have all these different takes, and if you like the one guy's response in one take, but you like the opposite response by the woman in this take, you could kind of put them together in editing, and he really kind of turned Krieger onto the tricks and the how you could really refine and make even with ADR. The best product, the best image, because he said like when he was doing Barbarian, sometimes he would have to kind of settle on, okay, well, we didn't capture that scene perfect, but you kind of have to live with what you shot that day. But in this movie, he was able to really kind of drill it down, and I think you can kind of see that it's really hopefully whenever Barbarian comes out on Criterion, we can maybe circle back to it. And do it on our show, but this movie is I don't know, and we got to talk about the final scene of the movie. This movie was really good. I was really enjoying it, but that final scene takes it so far over the top and really won me over. That just made the whole movie. I will say, when you have a mystery in a horror movie, a lot of times the mystery part is what's best, because whenever they finally reveal everything, some of the magic kind of dissipates. You really can't match. A lot of times you can't match the mystery that you build up, and a lot of times what the audience, what their imagination is, kind of goes way beyond what the people making the movie thought, and very rarely does it really meets your expectations, but then blows off the doors into this madness that you really want. And this movie brings the noise. His original idea was maybe having Justine and Archer use the witch's magic and bring their own army to face off against the kids, which have been too weird. But the way they end it, there's this madness to it, and it really pulls the energy. You should know this. We talked about this movie, Raising Arizona. There's a scene where High from Raising Arizona's being chased after robbing a grocery store or liquor store, and grocery store, and you have all these crazy people chasing him along with the cops and the dogs, and he's running through the house, everybody's houses and stuff, trying to get away. And there's that is very reminiscent to the ending scene of this movie. She doesn't quite make it away, make a getaway like High did in that movie, but she I think meets her just desserts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Gladys. I was not expecting that, honestly. I was like, okay, so she's running, and the other thing too is like she is so much more spry. She's way more spry, or she's beyond spry. She's like Olympic level athlete here, like going through like almost like a friggin' like a cartoon. Like where the character, like, they have the extended chase, and they're going through a kitchen, and they're going through somebody's living room, and they're going through, anyway, it just kind of adds to the absurdity. But then the way that it ends is that I'm glad they didn't do like army versus army, because then it would have been too much in Evil Dead territory.
Right.
And that's just something that this movie is could not pull off. Not that kind of movie. But I will be interested to see if we see any, kind of wink and nod, Gladys Halloween costumes in 2026 for when it's Halloween, which is a a fair ways away, but you know,
Yeah, I think there was for last Halloween because it was out in August. So, you know what I would like is I was thinking on rewatching this movie, sort of a replica of this. I'd love her little tree. I would like a little imitation.
Oh yeah.
Tree for her, and then we can maybe do our little branches and break and.
Well, you know, well, that would just go perfectly with the you know, merchandise or something. If this were A24, you know, something like that, you know, then it would have been you know.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't be low effort. They wouldn't be low effort, you know. Obviously, no sour grapes here. But no. This movie is amazing. I'm looking forward to what Krieger brings next. I mean, this guy is on fire. Again, there is a clip on. They say it. This Weapons is a sequel. There's a clip on I think the Wise Kids You Know's channel where Krieger's directing there's this little sketch where he's directing a movie and he's doing like a crazy directions and but yeah there's that you could track it down and also watch Timmy and the Hot Dogs as well. There's all those hot dogs. Yeah, if you do want a good laugh, just go to Wise Kids You Know's channel, and there's a lot of they do a lot of behind the scenes or whenever they all were together during lockdown, they did a lot of viewing parties of watching their old sketches and talking about it, and then post sketch discussions. Those are on their channel as well. So. A lot of insight, and then one of them that I watched recently that was on the DVD. That's where I picked up that Krieger. He said his favorite. They were talking about everybody's favorite horror movies, and he mentioned The Shining being his favorite. So, and the fact that there's clear connections like with the Room and the time of 217, but also there's the scene at the end where the parents are chasing the kid and breaking through the wall or breaking through the doors. Very reminiscent of The Shining, if you know, kind of deal. But yeah, there's that. But yeah, I have an idea, video game related, which is maybe apropos to since Krieger's going to be doing video games. But did you have anything else you wanted to say about Weapons outside? Everybody should be watching this movie.
No, it's a really fun, maybe not fun would be the wrong word, but it is a entertaining and engaging ride that you have, and you're going to feel one way or another about it because it doesn't hold back, but it also kind of it's also save for that ending. There's some blood, but it's not really like, in your face. It's more about like the atmosphere and like how fucking oppressive it is of like as it layers in layer by layer by layer by layer to like where, this arrogant Gladys and Gladys is very arrogant. And it's kind of like at one point she just doesn't give a fuck. And then she's not like she's like openly saying like putting a sign out on the front yard literally that says "Come get me," but at a certain point, essentially that's what it does. What happens? It's just kind of like, in other words, she is very arrogant and she's very flagrant with her actions, and she just doesn't care. So make of that what you will with that and what it means for witchcraft or something like that. There, but I want to revisit this world, and I would love it if it takes another 10 years. That's fine by me. I'd rather wait to see a very good, solid quality. And I echo you. I have not seen Barbarian, so it'll be really fun to explore that. find a way to watch it and talk about it. So
absolutely, that's about it. Yeah, and let's see. I was going to. Fantastic movie. I'm getting a lot of feedback, so it's hard. Let's see. Okay, there it goes. That's much better. I was also going to say that the police officer, the head, the chief officer in it, is. I was looking for his name. I forget his name, but he played Artie, the strongest man in the world on Pete and Pete. I know I'd seen him before, and absolutely love that guy. But also, I like how this movie kind of dealt with was a catharsis movie for Krieger. He was dealing with like the loss of his friend, and he's also kind of processing his ideas on alcoholism, and he's dealing with it when he was a child and then as an adult. And I love how you could take something so personal and make a movie that isn't preachy. It doesn't hit you over the head with it. That once you know what it's about, underneath everything, it really kind of brings together some. It kind of really makes you kind of understand the movie, but a little bit better. But it doesn't overwhelm the movie. The message doesn't overwhelm. Very interesting. It just kind of adds layers to the movie. So my idea. I was watching this other channel. They do a lot of kind of video game stuff, and just recently they put out a little thing where they had there's the wrestling game, kind of WWE champions, or not WWE wrestling game, where you can make your own characters, and then there's like that the version where you could just watch them fight it out, much like a regular wrestling thing. And they created a lot of their little characters that they created on their podcast and had them fight it out. And my idea was, especially with this month, we got some interesting characters. We got Demon Boy, we got Gladys, we got maybe Jennifer Connelly's character from Phenomena, maybe even the monkey, and whatever we decide for next week. We could have them all and create little characters of them in the wrestling game and have them fight it out. I don't know. Just something to throw out there. Oh, you're muted.
That would be fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. But you guys out there, audience, if you're interested in that, let us know. Maybe we can look into that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think that's about the end of the show. What do you say, Tom?
Yep. I think we're good. And hopefully all that feedback was on my side, because that was pretty bad.
I think we're good. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right.